still owned the building. Before the building, they had a small little restaurant with totan roof. And before that, it was Donna's grandmother had a cart, a Simon cart, where you'd come with your bowl. You actually brought the bowl to the cart, they put the Simon in, you ate it there, went home with your bowl. It wasn't even a restaurant. And from that little Simon cart, my father-in-law, Roy Toshiro Tonoi, went to medical school at University of Chicago, became the first board-certified surgeon of Japanese ancestry in Hawaii, and went on to, one of his first patients was Governor Burns. He had a hard time getting a job at any of the other Straub and those places would hire him because he was not haole. Those days it was hard to break into the established system, and so, but Burns came to him. And I would listen to them talk. The other strong family over here was the Cosasas, right? Thrifty Drugs. And it was the mother, my wife's grandmother, and Tom and Paul Cosas's grandmother were the smart ones. The women were the smart ones. Buy the land, invest in the land, and do the business, right? And they did it. They listened. And so strong, smart women. So, you know, I feel like I'm connected here through my wife's family. And when we moved here from my wife, when my wife went to Georgetown Law School, I worked for Dan and Owen. When we moved back, we moved up here, up on Wilhelmina Rise. And we now live in Manoa. But we really like this community, because it is a community. And I like Manoa. I look for communities to live in. Not just a place, but a place that you can go to a store, you can come to a restaurant like this, you're going to see people and say hi. It gives me a sense of belonging. And for me, that's what I want to do in this city again. I want to recreate communities that existed once before again, so that people can get to know each other. And that's happening in Kaimuki. I mean, it really is happening. Well, I wasn't a kid who grew up here. My wife would tell me the old days, you had the Christmas decorations across the street, yeah? The parades were better, everyone came out. They'd go to the football game down the street, and then they'd come up to Tonoi Saimin stand, or they'd go watch a movie at Queen's Theater over here, when there were movies there, good movies. And you know, it was all about celebrating life together. And I want to do that. And it's a lot of the detail. You know, we talked a little bit at this table about the bike path that's been talked about here, and the pros and cons, and the impact it could have on business and congestion. I would hate to see it have a negative impact, but I also hope that maybe there would be a way for things like this to revive the community, move forward into the future, bringing new groups of people into the town to do business, to celebrate life. But how do you do it? By working with all of you. And that's, the devil is always in the details. I am passionate about redeveloping the urban core. And for me, a lot of it is about infrastructure. You know, we have to do this major sewer infrastructure, 4.7 billion. The Environmental Protection Agency has mandated that we do it. We don't have any choice, but we fought to spread it out between now and 2038. There's a long time off, so the cost is spread out. The longer you spread it out, the less expensive it is by year. But I'm passionate about that system because it's going to rebuild our sewer system through deep tunnels, 100 feet underground, gravity flow, that will serve our city for hundreds and hundreds of years. You know, like the Paris sewer system, the Roman sewer system Rome was built 200 years ago. It's still being used by the citizens of Rome today. So these are investments in infrastructure. Rail is part of that investment in infrastructure. Roads, repaving, making them better, off-street, off-grade bike paths are part of it. Better sidewalks, more sidewalks, so people can walk to and from work and to and from a business safely, not hurt themselves. All of these are things that improve our infrastructure to what? To help us live better, to help us enjoy what's best about Hawaii. And to do that, you need more pocket parks. I think you need to build smaller parks. The one right over here, where you don't need a lot of green. You just need enough green to go play, sit outside in the grass under a tree, play basketball, those kinds of things. And in Kaka'ako, more density, higher buildings for me, but greater setbacks, so you still have the Malcolm Mackay view. So when I go stand up paddleboarding at Ala Moana, I can still see the ko'olaus between the buildings. But we're making better use of our urban lands so that we don't have to keep growing further out into our ag lands. I think we should stop at the urban core that we have now. There's an urban buffer that we have around the city and county of Honolulu, and I think we should infill, be more dense in the urban part, and keep the outlying lands open for ag and just our enjoyment, because that's what Hawaii is about, right? It's about all those beautiful things. But if we can invigorate our urban core, and live more densely, I can promise you businesses will benefit. If we do it right, we all benefit. We can make it beautiful. We can make it easier to move around. Give people choice between rail and the bus and cars and walking and bike riding. And doing it closer to work, so we don't commute as far every day. And maybe we don't even need as many cars. In major cities around this country, people own one car. In our city and county of Honolulu, we have more registered cars than we have people. And that's counting babies, and that's counting our senior citizens who no longer drive. More cars than people. We're a car-driven community and society in a world where oil is becoming more and more expensive. You see, the price of gas will be $5, my guess, within a year. And it just gets more and more expensive. We've got to help people understand that there are choices if we do this thing right. So it's about giving you choice. If you still want to drive, you can. If you still want to own 3 cars, you can. But if you want to own just 2 or 1 and take bus, train, walk, ride a bike, you can do that too. And that happens in major cities. The other thing that you don't hear, I think, from any mayor ever is that the city is a generator of jobs. And we should always be saying we're open for business. We want to be a partner with business, not a hindrance. And of course, you need permits, you need licenses, you need all these things from the city. And for the most part, when you interact with the city, it's not a pleasant experience. You almost think that they're the enemy and you're getting punished. Why are we doing that? You're all about generating revenue and income and creating jobs for all of us. And we really should be more of a partnership where we're looking to facilitate what it is you want to do. And yes, there are requirements. You have a restaurant, you need a grease trap because it's a public health and safety issue. But why not sit down and say, how can we help you get your grease trap that you need most efficiently, fast, so you can build your building, so you can open your restaurant and not drag it out. That's my approach. And I think part of it is just, I'm not a professional politician. I came to politics late in life. I'm 59. I served 6 years in the State House representing Manoa. That's the sum total of my political career. I did serve I worked at the city as a managing director. I did run for mayor, not elected. And I think I approach public service from the perspective of a person who comes from the private sector. I'm a partner in one of the largest law firms, corporate firms. I was the managing partner, and that meant I kind of was like the CEO of our firm. And I appreciate fully how difficult it is to live here and be a business person and meet the payroll and watch that margin shrink, because the partners only get what's left after. And every year it seems to be less and less. We work just as hard, but there's less because everything else keeps going up. So how do we in government make it easier for you to thrive? Because you thrive, our city thrives. If our city thrives, our island thrives. If our island thrives, the state thrives, right? Because 930,000 people live here. If we're doing good, everyone else is doing good. And so how do we do that? I want to say, let's work together. Let's not be an impediment. Let's always look for greater efficiency. Let's get permits out more effectively and quicker. And let's reach out to business. I would like to come to business and say, what else do we need to do to make your life easier? Some people are saying that even small things like high-speed internet, slice cut and sidewalks for internet, be like Seoul, be like Tokyo, will do a lot for up-and-coming businesses, and it's easy to do. So that's a little bit of my vision, my dream, my ideas. In terms of my background, as I mentioned, born in Waipahu in a plantation hospital, grew up in Hilo. My dad was a plantation physician. Worked at Puna Sugar in the Sablon gang, which is a wheat spray gang, for 2 summers and 1 winter. Went to college in Boston, graduate school in Boston. Got an economics degree and then a degree in law and diplomacy. Worked for Dan Inouye for 4 years. Went to the William S. Richardson School of Law after that. Clerked for Chief Justice William S. Richardson, who, do you know where he's from? From here, from Kaimuki. He grew up right around 10th. Next to Eddie Nakamura, Justice Nakamura became a justice. He clerked for him. Then I've been a partner at Ashton Riston for almost 30 years and served in the House for 6 years. Started off as the Vice Chair of Transportation, where I put in the bills on our rail project, jump-starting the debate again, because this is the 4th attempt. 3 previous ones died. It's always easier to kill projects than to build them, any kind of project, really. People can always tell you why something shouldn't happen versus this is why it should. They can find the problems a lot easier. And there is risk with any project. Became the chair of the Labor Committee. My next 2 years, the last 2 years, as a majority leader. Served at the in the city as a managing director, and then as acting mayor for 18 months. I was acting mayor for 60 days. The last election, I sprinted from way behind to almost catching up on election day. On election day, if you just count the votes cast that day, I was less than 2% behind, and people believe that if I had another week, you know, the council voted to have the election in September instead of November like everything else, I would probably be mayor today. So I'm running again, and I wouldn't have done it if I didn't think I could win, because I wouldn't be asking guys like Dan and Hubert and where's Sean? Sean, or my social media team who's here today, to come help me if I didn't think I had a chance. When I decided to run, it was just Peter Carlisle. I went to our team and we came up with a strategy to win with just Peter. When Ben started making noises about jumping in, I went back to the team. And by the way, I met with Ben Cayetano at Zippy's after I lost. And he said he was going to support me this time. That he didn't like me because I worked for Mufi, he didn't like Mufi. And I told him, hey, I'm not Mufi. Any more than when you worked for John Waihe as LG, were you John Waihe? You're Ben Cayetano, we're all who we are. He said, you're right, I'll support you. But later on, he said, you can't, you know, politicians, you know, they say one thing and do another. But I always tell Dan Ide, who drives me around a lot, that if I become one of those politicians who says one thing and does another, shoot me. Slap me in the head, say, snap out of it. You know, look at you, like everyone else. But anyway, when Ben said he's going to jump in, I went back to my team and they said, there's a way to win. It's a hard climb, no doubt. In every poll, I'm in third. But I'm climbing, Peter's coming down and I'm going up. And you know, the things that are worth the most in life, you have to fight the hardest for. You know that, every one of you. You can say, I'm not going to take the chance because it may not work out. You wouldn't be where you are today. We all take chances. But it's a calculated risk here. And I do have a way to win. And with your help, I can win. With you going out into the community and telling people, he's howling, but he's okay. Mrs. Ng, when I ran for in Manoa as a rep, she'd take me to the farmer's market. And she's like this tall, she'd take me around. It's Kirk Caldwell. It's okay, he's howling, but he's married to Dr. Tonoi's daughter. Don't worry, he's all right for a howling. He's okay. So, yeah, we understand that. But I do come from here. I'm connected to this place. I carry its values. And I believe the values, by the way, are not unique just to those who are born here. People come from all over the world to live here because they believe in our values. And I want to see those values continued, perpetuated, and preserved and enhanced. So I can do it, but I need your help.